Welcome to episode 88 on the Live Blissed Out podcast. Did you know that if 25% of the food currently being lost or wasted globally were saved, we would have enough to feed roughly 870 million people around the globe? Hello, action taker. Welcome to Live Blissed Out, a podcast where I have inspirational and informational conversations with business owners and subject matter experts to help you get the scoop on a variety of topics. Tired of hesitating or making decisions without having the big picture? Want to be in the know? Then this is the place to go. I'm your host, Marissa Houston, helping you achieve bliss through awareness and action. So let's get to it. Are you looking for a way to save time each week going to the grocery store, save money by not letting the food you buy go bad, and avoid decision fatigue? Mary Gaul, creator of the Magic Meal Planning System, will help you plan your meals for the week, create your shopping list to get you in and out of the store quickly so your entire family will know the answer to what's for dinner. Get yours at successmagnify.com/resources and receive $10 off using code MEALS10. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for general information only, and any reliance on the information provided in this podcast is done at your own risk. This podcast should not be considered professional advice. Mary, it's great to have you on the show. What is on the menu for our conversation today? Pun intended.
I love it. Today, we are going to be talking about the top 10 must-stock pantry staples and then 5 quick go-to meals you can make from those 10 staples.
Most of us, when we get hungry, we jump right into, what are we going to have to eat? And then the whole family's kind of looking at each other going, I don't know. And then it becomes this big chore. We are doing things reactively instead of having something set aside so that when you're hungry, you always know you can just grab something and you're ready to go.
Exactly. So let me just set the little stage for you. It's 4:30 in the afternoon. You're just wrapping up another Zoom meeting. Your kids have just gotten out of their online school class. Your spouse or your kids or your roommate, significant other walks in and they ask that dreaded question, what's for dinner? Ugh. Decision fatigue is real, right?
Yeah.
So you start rolling through those questions. I don't know. What do we have in the house? Do we have something in the fridge? Do I have something prepared? Who wants to go to the grocery store? Nobody. Okay, takeout again, drive-through fast food meal. You go to the fridge, stick your head in there. You realize that, the salad that you bought last week is now turning into green soup. Maybe you're hungry for pasta, but you don't have any sauce in the house. Or maybe it's the end of the month and your budget's a little tight and you don't have the money to go out to eat. And you really are like, we have to come up with something from the items that we have in the pantry. So that's why I created my must-stock pantry staples list and then some 5 go-to recipes that we're going to talk about.
I completely relate. I can say that for myself. I'm pretty sure there are people listening to us today that are thinking the exact same thing. We end up not thinking about food until we need to. We look at our kitchen situation and then it becomes this thing of not only do I have to decide what am I going to eat, but then I have to prepare the meal. And usually you're in between so many different activities with the family and you're like, I don't want to do that. So then what do? We end up picking up the phone and ordering takeout.
Exactly. This is not related to any diet. Lots of people are on specific diets or have dietary restrictions. So if this doesn't apply to you, just ignore that line item. You probably have found a way to work around that particular item already because you've had this dietary issue or you're on a specific diet plan. So you probably know what the workaround is if it's not in your plan. Number 1 is eggs. You can do so much with eggs. Always keep them in your refrigerator. They last up to 5 weeks in the refrigerator, so you don't have to restock them often, but you can make so many things with eggs. It's a quick protein, and your kids love to crack them and scramble them and all kinds of things you can do. Number 2 is cheese. If you're dairy-free, there's all kinds of dairy-free cheeses. You've probably found an alternative that you already like. So it's great to keep some shredded. You can freeze shredded cheese and then pull it out of your freezer when you need some to sprinkle on something at the last minute. Number 3 is tortillas. Tortillas are very versatile. You can use it instead of bread. You can use it in casseroles. You can use it just to eat one. You can make them sweet. You can make them savory. There's lots of low-carb options to fit with any plan. And I just want to make a quick note. I do have a little link where you're going to be able to download this list and the 5 recipes that you can make from this list. So don't worry about frantically taking notes as I'm talking. Okay, I know I'm talking kind of fast. Number 4 is rice. You can make it sweet. You can make it savory. If you cook a big batch, you can freeze some and have it on hand ready to go in the microwave in just minutes. Beans, canned beans specifically, are super easy. A great way to add some protein, add some fiber to your meals. You can sprinkle them on salads. You can put them in a burrito. You can add them to your quesadilla. There's all kinds of things. They're multi-purpose. You can season them up. Garbanzo beans, you can even season them and bake them. And they are really little crunchy snacks if you want to have a nice crunchy snack. My favorite vegetable of choice is onions to go in everything. If you just add a little bit of onion to something, it can really dress up the flavor. Some people don't like onions, so you can substitute garlic or, whatever you want to have, something that's easy to keep on hand. Typically, if I use like half an onion and chop it up in a meal, then I'll freeze the other half, and you can freeze it flat, and then you can just break off a few chunks of chopped onion anytime you want to add them into your eggs or your tortillas or whatever it is. So a little handy trick there. And then having some kind of canned protein, like a canned chicken or a canned tuna. It's really easy to then throw that into your burrito, into a casserole, whatever you need to have that canned protein handy. Toss it on a salad. And then pasta and sauce, always a must-stock pantry staple. You can always throw spaghetti on the plate for your family, for your kids. There's all kinds of pasta you can make now that's made out of quinoa and vegetables. And so it doesn't have to be pasta from wheat if you've got wheat allergies or intolerances. And then keeping a jar of pasta sauce in your pantry is always a great thing to have. You can turn that into soup by adding different spices. You can make it into enchilada sauce instead of pasta sauce. So there's lots of things you can do. I like to keep frozen veggies on hand too. You can throw frozen veggies into anything or just have them as a side dish.
And you never have to worry about them rotting or anything. You just grab them when you need them. It's great.
Exactly. And they're ready in minutes. And then the frozen pizza. If you can't decide on what to eat, always throw in a frozen pizza. And you can get these some not healthy options, but there's some really healthy options out there now in the frozen pizza aisle. We get some at Costco that are made with a cauliflower crust, and they have roasted vegetables, and they have cashew cheese on them. And they taste really good. My husband was surprised when I told him. He's like, this is different. I was like, it's cauliflower crust, thinking he was going to spit it out, but he actually liked it. So there's some nice, healthy options, but those are quick. In 20 minutes, you can have a meal. And if you got some vegetables, you can throw on top of it or add something like that. It's really easy.
I love it, Mary. And here's the thing is that, as you were saying, any of these can be substituted. So if you're doing low carb or low sugar or anything like that, you can replace any of these things. For example, maybe some people have never heard of a grain called farro, but I like to eat farro, and it's delicious, and it's a great rice substitute. It's totally different. It's got a nutty flavor to it, but it doesn't have the starches that you get typically from standard rice. So any of these things can be interchanged depending on what your dietary needs are. There's something for everybody out there now, and the options are endless.
Yes, just your regular grocery store has all kinds of substitutions for you. 5 go-to meals that are on this recipes here. So quesadillas, of course, quesadillas are like a grilled cheese. You can start with just basic cheese and tortilla, or you can add in black beans, you can add in your frozen vegetables, you can even add in scrambled eggs and make them for breakfast. And then with the eggs, you can even do the egg substitute if you want to. That's available in the dairy aisle. Then you don't have to have eggs on hand. Making omelets, scrambled eggs, hard-boiled eggs. There's all kinds of things you can do with eggs. I have a recipe for a chicken tortilla bake, which uses your canned chicken, the tortillas, and the black beans. And then I have a black bean pasta bowl. So if you've got some pasta on hand, 5 ingredients. And then a tuna pasta bake. You can substitute rice or a different grain, or you can substitute different pastas. We've tried the quinoa pasta, and we really like that one as well. There's all kinds of options you can do, but just always have those things in your cupboard so that when it is the end of the day and you hear that dreaded question, what's for dinner? Then you know, even if you haven't planned something for dinner, you know you can quickly whip up something that's going to be on the table in less than 30 minutes.
Are you a Gen Xer seeking to engage with your online community to make a positive difference, but keep putting your plans off due to fear or self-doubt? Not too long ago, I struggled with my own limiting beliefs that stopped me from pursuing my goals. I learned a lot of valuable lessons, which I'd like to share with you to help you avoid the same pitfalls. Ace Your Virtual Business is a business group centered upon action, community, and effectiveness. Join us for exclusive offers and weekly live conversations that address your challenges and receive the encouragement, accountability, and support you need to succeed in the virtual business world. To get started now, visit aceyourvirtualbusiness.podia.com. there's so many combinations you can make out of all of these main ingredients. It's incredible. Like these are just 5 meals. You could go on and on with the 10 pantry items that you just shared. I mean, it's just incredible what you can do. So you'll never run out of options as long as you have those in stock.
Right. And it saves you money because if you were thinking of, oh, we're just going to drive through a fast food place, the average cost of that for a family of 4 is about $40 to $50. So most of these pantry items cost around a few dollars, and you're going to make multiple meals out of them. Like a bag of rice is $2 or $3. You can make multiple meals out of that, or the grain of your choice. Pasta is a couple dollars for a box of pasta. So it's so much more economically friendly for you to cook at home.
There's no question. In fact, the other day, my husband bought a bean soup mix packet, and it had I think 15 different beans in it. The recipe was on the packet, and it literally took an hour because most of the time it's just waiting for the beans to soften and just monitor it. But you basically just throw all these ingredients in there and you're done, and you can eat for days.
Yes. I challenge everyone out there, when you get home, if you're not home already, take a look through all of your cupboards, through what's in your freezer and what's in your refrigerator, and ask yourself, what can you eat for dinner this week? How many meals can you make before you have to go to the store? Sometimes I do this challenge with my husband. It's like, we're not going to go to the store this week unless we need cat food or something. We usually have enough stuff in the house that we can eat for a whole week without having to go to the store. We've all been through a pandemic where we were limited when we could go out. So it's always a good challenge, and it helps you to eat up what's in your house. These things are staples. They have a long shelf life, but it doesn't mean they can last forever. So it's a good idea to eat the food that you buy. We don't want to have this food wasting away in our shelves. So why not have some meals planned where you're going to say, okay, for the next 3 days, we're going to eat stuff that we have in the house, or for the next week. See how long you can go before you have to go to the store for some missing ingredient.
Oh, and it feels so good to see that your pantry's getting emptied out and refreshed with new things that you really do need. When you start to utilize what you have, you start seeing everything emptied out, and it's almost like starting fresh again. And it's such a great feeling.
Yeah. And you know that money you invested in that food, because it is an investment in that food, right, in our health, is not going to waste. You're actually using what you've invested that money in. So that's another way to look at it.
And you know what you're eating. You tend to eat healthier because you know the ingredients. It's all fresh. It's good stuff. You pick them from the grocery store. And grocery store shopping becomes so much easier, Mary, because you usually just get the same thing. So I already know which aisle. I know I go straight to the vegetable aisle. I know what I need. I go straight to the meat aisle. I know what I need. And it just becomes so much easier to do.
Yes, I agree. Go to my website. It's successmagnified.com. And then /resources. There's all kinds of resources on the page. This one is just called the 10 Pantry Staples and 5 Go-To Recipes. So they can click on that and download it for free.
What problem are you trying to solve for people, and why are you so passionate about helping people when it comes to meal planning?
Thank you for asking that, Marissa. I am a mom. My kids are grown and out of the house. I'm an empty nester now, but I remember when I was working a full-time job and I had 2 daughters who were very active in all kinds of activities. My husband was working full-time. I was volunteering all over the place, and I would come home in between work and getting kids to the next thing, and I'd walk in and I would be hit with that question, what's for dinner? And it causes my blood pressure to go up still to this day because it's so stressful. You're already stressed. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I have to figure out what I'm going to have for dinner. I don't know if I have all the ingredients to make that. Do we have time to make that? It's so stressful. And it's just an added level of stress that you don't need to have. I created a system called the Magic Meal Plan System. And it's got an amazing little planner pad. So it's hardwired. It's not on your screen. You don't need any more screen time. We're already on the screen all the time. It's actually a thing you print out and you use a good old-fashioned pencil or pen. You map out your meals for the week, and then it has a grocery list attached to that so that you can take your meals and your grocery list to the store. It's organized by department in the store. You always know what you're having for dinner every night. You already know, if you've used your grocery list, that you have all the ingredients needed. You've checked your pantry to make sure what you need to buy, what you already have. So then every night when you walk home, or at 4:30 when you close that last Zoom call and the kids ask, what's for dinner? You can say, hey, go look on the fridge. It's Tuesday night. What are we having for dinner? Everybody knows what's having for dinner. And that's a great way to get your kids in the kitchen with you too, or your spouse or significant other. If they know, oh, it's Tuesday night, it's taco night. I know we have all the ingredients in the fridge because we've already done our one time a week grocery shop. We're not going back to the store every day or every other day for missing ingredients. I'm all about having family dinners together. I think it's really important to sit down and have dinner when you can. I know schedules are busy, and as we come out of the pandemic, kids are getting back into activities and that kind of thing. And so it makes the schedule hectic, but that's even more reason to sit down and have a quick meal and have one prepared, knowing that you can have that quick meal together before you're off to the next thing. Your listeners, if they choose to buy the planner pad, you can buy just the digital download or as a kit. I am offering our listeners a coupon code so they can put in the code MEALS, MEALS 10, and it takes $10 off their order.
I think so many people are going to benefit from these tools that you created, and I'm just so excited to be able to share it with our listeners.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me on, and I hope people get in their kitchens and clean out their cupboards and start making some of these fun meals.
That's a wrap for this episode of Live Blissed Out. Thanks for listening, and thanks to Mary Gaul for joining us on the show. If you have a question or comment for a future episode, all you have to do is go to speakpipe.com/LBOVM or click the link in the show notes to leave a brief audio message. If you find value in our show, please visit liveblessedout.com to reach out, subscribe, and share on social media. This show is made possible through listeners like you. Thank you. So long for now, and remember to keep moving forward.